Hello, it's Latreia. Today has been another good day. Um, Today I want to talk about trust and a little bit about, what I trust in and kind of to whom I trust in. And for me, when I think of trust, I try to go further than trusting my mother or my father or my husband or um, trusting someone so far that I can throw them or something like that. I try to say that I trust the process of doing the right thing, you know, living by humility and confidence and staying in a place where I feel good. You know, I love to feel good. And I know sometimes in my life I feel other than good. But I can always learn from those storms or those shortcomings, those areas in my life where I'm not meeting my expectation. Um, for instance, when it comes to depression and anxiety, with my anxiety, sometimes I don't want to use the courage to let somebody know, like, hey, what you're doing is bothering me. And I don't want to be around you. I don't choose to come at people like that. And so I trust that the way that I'm doing things is the right way for me. Now, sometimes when doubt comes about and I start thinking that maybe I don't go to church as much as the next person, I don't have the gift of singing and, explaining my passion strong enough. When those doubts come about, and it could be for anything, it could be with finances. Oh, I don't make enough money, so nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Or I'm not pretty enough, so nobody cares what I have to say. I have to look at the universal picture, the whole entire earth and universe, and look at it like there are some people that are well off in life financially and with their spiritual gifts and with their talents and their ability to be successful in art or music or engineering. Um, but where do I fit in? You know, I don't have any terminal illnesses. I have all my limbs. So even though I don't make the most amount of money or have the latest and grandest and most expensive things, there are some people that would die or be jealous of the life that I have. So we all have to trust in something. And we all trust in something. As we wake up each day, you know, there may be times when we don't want to eat the food that someone else has prepared for us, because we have that trust issue, you know, especially trying new foods. I've tried different types of cuisines and I was scared because the way that the cuisines smell, you know, Um, but I have to trust that in my part of the country, we have federal regulations. And with those regulations, we have laws and we have punishments. And I have to look at it like the company or the business or the restaurant that I'm dealing with is doing their best to abide by those stipulations. I have to trust the process of living life. If I don't trust anything, I would be housebound and I would die in my house because I wouldn't trust anyone about anything. So, dying, I hear, is inevitable. It's something that we cannot avoid. We have to die, either a spiritual death or a natural death. And so, how we die may not be up to us, but we do have some power or some control over the amount of suffering that we deal with in the dying process. And that's what I trust. I trust that if I don't use drugs and alcohol outside of what my doctor says I can do, then I will fare better with my health than if I was to use drugs and alcohol the way that I want to use drugs and alcohol, you know. And I have to trust and make that decision to stick to what works for me, you know, and don't just look at, I don't just look at the bad times, and I don't really like using the word bad, but I don't look at the times when I feel helpless or hopeless. I look at the times when I have hope. Once I make a decision to not do something so that I can have a better life, I have to trust that decision and see that decision all the way through and not go back to what my old ways were and do the same thing that I've been doing over and over again and it hadn't been working. So when we make our New Year's resolutions and we make goals, new goals for ourselves, and we start the slate clean, like in a relationship, trying a new marriage, and we say, hey, this time, like I've said, hey, this time it's not going to be an open marriage. It's going to be a monogamous marriage. Now, when I'm unhappy in some area of that marriage, it's not trusting the process and trusting the decision that I made when I say, oh, I'm going to go out and have open relationships. I'm going to change the dynamics of my marriage and start going back to the old way. No. Sometimes I have to sit through those uncomfortable feelings because my feelings sometimes are selfish and they're self-centered. And me personally, I have to trust my standards. My standards are I have a husband that is a tad bit older than me. I didn't want a husband that was the same age as me. So that was something that I had to trust, that with aging sometimes comes sickness, but it also comes with maturity. And that's if that person is working on themselves on a regular basis. And that is what my husband does. Now, I trust that my husband will continue to work on himself on a regular basis. Therefore, I stay in the marriage and um, without cheating each and every day. I have a choice, and we have a choice. We all have a choice to change our mind. But at what point do we start trusting our intuition? You know, that and make a commitment to stick by our intuition. You know, especially for me, the word God was involved in me choosing to get married. And even though I didn't want to, I knew that I wanted something different because what I was doing before wasn't working. Yes, I wanted to be married for many years, and I didn't know that monogamy was for me. And monogamy makes me more happy, more fulfilled on a regular basis. It takes some time getting used to, but as I trust in my partner and I trust in the God of my understanding, and as I trust in my intuition and stay confident about the decisions that I've made to be in this marriage and to be a mother, which is another example, you know, I am trusting the process of this journey called life. You know, being a mother is another part of trust, you know, because I want to be an active part of my daughter's life. There are some, here comes the word, sacrifices that, you know, I choose to make every day. You know, she's going to be a part of my videos sometimes, and she is going to need a ride certain places. You know, I'm going to need to pick her up at a certain time. And so, trusting motherhood, trusting that my parenting skills are going to help guide my life and fill my life is another part of staying committed in a way, staying committed to being a mother and not giving up my child to a family member so that they can take care of her while I'm figuring out my life. You know, we figure out our life together because as she grows, you know, she gives me insight, you know, and the more that she's able to talk, she has her own experiences, and with those experiences, she shares with me, and it changes some of my misconceptions or some of my thoughts about how I'm doing in my personal life, you know. So I trust that we're building a relationship, you know, as a family. And so I choose to stay in that family unit because I see that it's helping me, you know. Um, and so we trust what works for us. And we really have to look at on a regular basis what's working and what's not, and really take time to think about how life is going, and I think that that's very important. It's just as important as a vacation, where you take time off of work, you know, um, and maybe not going out or for the night, and instead reflecting on life is helpful. And doing that on a regular basis is truly helpful. Sometimes I worry about the content that I have or don't have, and I just continue on with my day, continue on with my routine. And over time, that content comes about, and then I take advantage of that opportunity and share. So, thanks for listening. Have a wonderful day, and find the gifts in your storm and the gifts in your life on a regular basis. Thanks. Later.